Good morning, everyone. Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that I'm currently seated on the lands of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Squamish nations. I know that many of you are on the lands of other nations, so if you like, feel free to write those nations' names in the chat. And always let us remember our connection to our siblings in these nations. Let us pray and work towards the day in which we might be in right relationship. Welcome to the Living Interfaith Sanctuary. My name is Dora Lee, and I'm happy to be with you all today. Know that the whole of you is welcome. You are not asked to leave who you are in your own home. Please bring who you are into this community today as well. But we're asked to remember, as always, is that others here today who have brought who they are into this community with them as well. And all of goodwill are welcome. Now I'll turn it over to Bruce for our opening song.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
Thank you. All right, now time for some announcements today. First of all, next Saturday will be our ongoing second and fourth Saturdays of the month, Circle of Sanctuary. It's an opportunity to come together with any community members, to connect with any teaching you may have received, deepen your understanding around them. Building that personal relationship with the divine. Next week's is going to be led by Rachel. We have a contemplation and discussion time for about an hour, and that's at 10 a.m. next Saturday. And it's the same link as our Zoom link just on our website. It's in our email newsletter as well. So please come and join. We've been really enjoying leading these Circle of Sanctuaries on our alternating Saturdays. We hope more of you might join if you feel called to, or if you have time to. I know that sometimes that's a big conflict for people as well. So. Additionally, announcement, something that's happening today from 2 o'clock to 4:30 for those who may be in the Lower Mainland here around Vancouver. We are being called by the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, and specifically Reuben George, to join together in solidarity, understanding that the waters of the Burrard Inlet are under threat. There's a proposal to dredge near the Second Narrows Bridge, which would disturb the seafloor and sea life, allowing more oil to move through the channel, which anyway, we have probably many things we could talk about with that, but Reuben George and the Tsleil-Waututh Nations inviting people to come together today to pray for the waters, for the inlet, and also to discuss how to be in solidarity, how to work together to help, and from our place and community members to help keep the inlet safe. All are welcome, all ages are welcome. I'm putting a link here in the chat. They're asking for people to register for this event. There's no charge to it, but just so they have a sense of how many people are coming. So please do join us today. Rachel and I will both be there. We hope to see some of you there. Also coming up, an interfaith concert in March 8th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Banquet Hall in the Bonser Recreation Complex in Burnaby. This is a free event. There's going to be many different folks participating and performing, some that we may know as well. It's a free concert welcoming everyone. It's accessible venue. There'll be light refreshments served. They're just asking folks to register again. Here's the event for the interfaith concert. If anybody wants to click on that and you happen to be in the area on March 8th, for March 8th, I'll be there myself. Maybe Rachel as well, but I'm certainly looking forward to some lively music from many different folks and different traditions as well. So can I invite anyone else? Anybody have any announcements they'd like to share this morning also? Anything happening in your community you want to tell us about? This is the chance. All right, there being none, we're going to go ahead and take a moment here to settle in for our first prayer of the morning. I'm going to start with just a deep breath. If you want to join me in that as well, this is our opening prayer for today. This is a poem called The Tree by the poet Jones Very. I love thee when thy swelling buds appear, and one by one their tender leaves unfold, as if they knew that warmer suns were near, nor longer sought to hide from winter's cold. And when with darker growth thy leaves are seen, to veil from view the early robin's nest, I love to lie beneath the waving screen, with limbs by summer's heat and toils oppressed. And when the autumn winds have stripped thee bare, and round thee lies the smooth, untrodden snow, when naught is thine that made thee once so fair, I love to watch thy shadowy form below, and through thy leafless arms to look above on stars that brighter beam when most we need their love. Another prayer this morning. This is the New Life Rising by Rabbinic Council member of the Jewish Voices for Peace, Rabbi Brant Rosen. New life is rising. In dark, warm earth it unfolds, surging up through tangled roots, eyes blinking in the widening light, pulled by the inevitability of liberation. New life is stirring. Can't you feel the blood coursing once more through awakened hearts? Can't you see the crowd slowly gathering on street corners? Don't you hear the voices whispering it is time for the new world to be born anew? New life is returning, sprouting through cracks in concrete, blooming out of villages long buried and homes demolished, coming back to what was lost but never truly forgotten. Like the almond blossom spreading across the hills, like the olive tree standing steadfast in rocky soil, new life is rising, and soon, so very soon, this land will open its arms to welcome you home. Now, please feel free to unmute and greet one another with the sign of peace. Peace, shalom, alawapa, everyone. It's lovely having you here this morning.
Hello, everybody.
Peace to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Nice to see you all.
Peace, everyone.
Peace, everyone.
Peace, love, alawapa.
Thank you. Now we'll turn it over to Bruce for sharing another song this morning.
A classic song for the festival. Let's start with the refrain. It goes like this. Tu bishvat higia hag lailanot. Tu bishvat higia hag lailanot. Again. Tu bishvat higia hag lailanot. Tu bishvat higia hag lailanot. Here we go. השקדיה פורחת ושמש בזורחת, ציפורי מראש גוגג מבשרות בו החג. ט"ו בשבט הגיע חג לאילנות, ט"ו בשבט הגיע חג לאילנות. הארץ משוועת, הגיעה עת לטעת, כל אחד ייקח לו עץ, בידים ניצח חוצץ, ט"ו בשבט הגיע, חג לאילנות, ט"ו בשבט הגיע, חג לאילנות. השקדיה פורחת ושמש פזורחת, ציפורים מראש כל גג, מבשרות בוחחת, ט"ו בשבט הגיע, חג לאילנות, ט"ו בשבט הגיע, חג לאילנות. הארץ משוועת, הגיעה עת לטעת, כל אחד ייקח לו עץ, בידים ניצח חוצץ, ט"ו בשבט הגיע, חג לאילנות, ט"ו בשבט הגיע, חג לאילנות, ט"ו בשבט הגיע, חג לאילנות, ט"ו בשבט הגיע, חג לאילנות.
Thank you, Bruce. So wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, if you will please join me in sharing together our joint affirmation. Read it aloud and feel free to open your hearts and join in your own homes and reading along with me. We come together in peace. We sing together in joy and with love. We worship together in one house, a house with names beyond number. Our paths are many, our beliefs are as leaves, and the tree that we cleave to is nourished by the light of compassion, justice, and mutual respect. May our lives, our beliefs, and our actions help to bring about the world of love we all seek, and let it begin here. Now we're going to take a couple minutes here together to just settle in for a short meditation and then open our hearts in prayer, whatever may be on your mind or heart this morning, praying in your own way, in your own homes. But I'm just going to guide us here for just a minute or so into a settling together. So if you want to just take a couple of breaths to just kind of allow your body to open up, you can let your eyes close or your gaze lower as you just start to feel the weight of yourself in the seat that's holding you. Just allow your shoulders to get a little softer. Maybe you need movement around your jaw, your neck, just to make sure you can feel that connection, head to spine to body. You're going to draw in 2 deep breaths together, bringing a deep full breath into your chest, holding it when you get to the top, and letting it go. Easing it out. One more time. Deep, full breath in, really opening up your body to receive the air of the world, holding it when you get to the top, and letting it go. Now you can continue with some full breaths if you like, or you can just settle into just a pattern of breathing that feels natural to your body in this moment. As we connect to a breathing, a respiratory system that brings body and life, energy, every moment of the day without thought. Just drawing our attention for a moment to this breath. Just feeling the inhale, feeling the exhale, knowing that the air that we breathe is in a large part nourished and offered to us so freely by the trees that fill this planet, the lungs of this earth. Yet many of these trees that lose their leaves throughout the winter and settle into a stasis are starting to wake up again, starting to reveal their newness of another year, another cycle. And that this breath that you are pulling in and releasing out is in direct connection with the force of this mighty breathing, living creatures across this planet of our trees. Just feeling the joy of that, the sense of connection and belonging we have with our tree friends, our tree relatives. And from this still place, this settled place, this rooted place perhaps, let's open our hearts in prayer for the next minute or two, just inviting in, calling forward anything that you know in your heart and in your spirit and you'd like to attend to with prayer. Thank you, friends. Prayer for you from this moment. May it be so. Thank you, friends. Thank you for your prayers. Planet needs them. Now I'll turn it over to Bruce for another song this morning.
Ait chaim hi lamachad zikim ba v'tom chea mosha ait chaim hi Lamachad zikim ba v'tom grea mosha Darashecha dacheno Netivodea Shalom Hashivenu Hashem Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Yameinu Chakadeh Ait chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tom chea mosha Ait chaim hi lamachazikim v'tom chea mosha derachea dachenoam v'chol netivodea Shalom Hashivenu Hashem Elecha v'nashuva Tashova Chadesh Yameinu Kukadesh.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Oh, it's so evocative. Beautiful. Thank you. Now is the time that we open up the proverbial basket and invite folks to contribute if they're able. We just thank you. So many of you already donate to our small little mighty organization here. Your donations go to support our staff, Amy, Bruce, and Cheryl musicians, our leadership, Zunera. We have very little overhead otherwise. So we thank everyone who donates so generously. I'm just going to put in the chat our donation link in case anybody feels like they want to send a few dollars our way. We really are so grateful for that. We'll be announcing our stewardship campaign in the next few weeks as well, which we do every spring. But for now, this is our donation page. So I'll turn it over to Bruce now for our song. Thank you.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Thank you. And now it's my joy and my honor to welcome Cantor Shira Stanford-Asiyo. We're here together to learn about Tu B'Shavat from Shira. I'm very excited today. Tu B'Shavat is a celebration celebrated with a ritual that takes us on a journey through the seasons and an exploration of the seeds of hope we want to plant, grow, and harvest in the coming year. I'm very excited, Shira. I love this holiday. Cantor Shira was ordained at the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College 2005 and co-founded the local Jewish community Hamakom. I hope I said that right, Hamakom? Close. Okay, maybe you can pronounce it for us properly here. A radically inclusive, progressive Jewish circle of learning and ritual. Beautiful. She currently works as a clinical counselor at Tulua Collaborative Health in Burnaby and Alpha Wellness in Coquitlam. And I love this. In her free time, singing in community choirs, she crochets and frolics through the farmers market. Shira, it's a delight to have you here. I'll turn it over to you to share with us about Tu B'Shavat.
Thanks so much. Yeah. So I'm Cantor Shira Stanford-Asiyo, and I'm really happy to be here. Yeah, it's Hamakom. You were very close. And Hamakom means the place, the space, because we think of actually the divine as being everywhere and the space in which we sort of rest our hopes on. Tu B'Shvat is a holiday that has evolved over the centuries. So it actually started as sort of a tax day, something a little more mundane. There are actually 4 New Years in the Jewish calendar, um, and none of them are exactly just one thing. So Tu B'Shvat started as a time when people in the community would bring their first fruits to the temple. I think I teach bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah kids, b'nai mitzvah kids a lot, and sometimes teaching them about all of the sacrifices that are mentioned in the Torah feels really complicated and strange. But when we break it down to the idea that these people who are doing religious work for us were very occupied, they were very busy, kind of holding the spiritual life of the community, so they didn't have time to grow their own food, to raise their own cattle or sheep or goats or grow their own wheat. And so a lot of the sacrifices that were brought to the temple were picnics and barbecues, or all of the fruit for them to enjoy throughout the year and to can and preserve, just like, I don't know if they were canning, but to preserve in different ways that that we would, so that they would also have fruit throughout the year. So this was actually a way of bringing sustenance to the people who were doing the spiritual work of the community. But over the time, once we no longer centered our religious life around the temple, it became a way of really connecting with the earth and thinking about how trees give us sustenance and oxygen and life, and what we are planting and growing. Uh, th- the Kabbalistic movement, which is more of a spiritual movement within Judaism, created a Seder for Tu B'Shvat. And that Seder, so Seder itself means order, it means some kind of flow of structure. Most people associate Seder with Passover, when we have a very long, elaborate Seder that takes us through the Exodus from Egypt into being a free people. Um, but there has been this practice of celebrating a Seder for Tu B'Shvat that takes us through our connection with the natural world. So Tu B'Shvat is actually just an acronym. Uh, each letter in the Hebrew alphabet, aleph-bet, um, has a number associated with it. So the letters Tet and Vav make the word two and equal the number 15. And Shevat is the word for the month. So Tu B'Shvat actually just means the 15th day of the month of Shevat. Shevat is the 11th month of the calendar. We're about to go into Adar, which is our fun, like, Mardi Gras month in Judaism. We actually passed Tu B'Shvat a few weeks ago, and we're going into Purim very soon, which is a big kind of combination between Halloween and Mardi Gras, where we are very festive and dress up in costumes. And Purim is actually the holiday where we give gifts, traditionally, not Hanukkah, but we couldn't make the kids wait for 2 more months. So we shifted the presents to when when everybody else was getting them. Because if Jewish kids had to wait till March to get presents, nobody would be happy at home. So but in between Hanukkah and Purim is this holiday where we really reconnect. And normally, if I was leading this for a group, I would send you to the supermarket and have you buy a whole bunch of things to participate in the Seder with me. But I didn't want to put all that pressure on you. So I'm going to take you through a Seder very quickly, and I'm going to symbolically eat some fruits and drink some special, it's usually wine. This is actually like my bottle of wine that my student brought over when we did Tu B'Shvat as part of his class. It's too early for me to drink wine. So, I made, you're supposed to have two different types of wine or grape juice for this ritual, but instead I made tea. You're supposed to have a light colored wine, like a white wine, and a red wine. I made a lemon tea, and this tea, I think the base is actually currants. And a red tea. And you mix them together. So for real wine snobs, I'm sure this holiday is just very disturbing because you have to mix white and red wines together. But so I have different teas and I have different fruits, and we'll go through and talk about how they play into this celebration. So we walk in the Seder through all of the seasons, and we start with winter. And I was really thinking about this and how we would assume that a celebration about trees and the earth would start with planting, but it doesn't. It starts with winter when all the seeds are underground. And what I like about this is the thought that when we come into the world, we don't start by planting. There are so many things that are already planted for us. The generations have actually invested in the world and created so much of what we have around us. And for Jews, when we celebrate Shabbat on the Sabbath, there are the more you're religious you are, the more restrictions there are to how you celebrate Shabbat. And part of the intention of that, to not drive, to not cook something with heat, to not cut or paint or create, is to really sit back and appreciate that the world has already been created for you, that there is a creation, and that we can take one day off and appreciate it and appreciate everything we already have, even if we don't lift a finger. And so there's some humility in that, of stepping back and not doing, but just taking a breath and appreciating and giving gratitude for what is. So when we start this journey through the seasons as part of the Tu B'Shvat Seder, we start with winter and we start with protection. So we start coming in and thinking about, what do we have already and what are we willing to do to protect it? What are we willing to do to appreciate it, to think about what was created for us, what was planted way before we got here that may fruit. Sometimes it takes years and years and years for trees to grow to the point where they'll actually give fruit. But most of us all of us came into a world that already was producing fruit when we got here. So someone did that work for us. And so we start off with the world of winter, where those seeds have already been planted. And it's our job just to make sure that we're not disturbing them during the winter. We're not digging them up. We're just protecting them. And also, like, what are we protecting in ourselves? How do we think about who we are at our essence and what we protect inside ourselves? So, to sort of symbolize the winter, we drink a glass of light wine or liquid. So I'm going to pour my little lemon tea. Um, and we eat a fruit that has a hard shell, that has this protection, that symbolizes us protecting what we already have. It's the world of the physical. So each world has sort of an element that's part of it. So it's the world of the physical. It's the world connected to the earth and what is planted inside the earth. So we eat a fruit that has either like a thick shell, like a pineapple, or a nut. I have a little pecan here that has a hard shell, or a kiwi, something where you would not eat the outside, right? So you have to crack it open and take its winter coat off. So we take this light winter colored glass of wine or juice, and we eat something that has the hard shell. So I'll say the blessings for these things. We'll see how much time we have if I do the blessings each time, but I'll do it at least for this one. So, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Usually it's done over wine. So the blessing says, "Blessed is the one who has created the fruit of the vine." And Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri ha'etz. Blessed is the one who has created things from the trees. So after this, you can go eat fruit salads that you all make on your own time. So the next world we're going into is springtime. So things are starting to warm up, and we go from the physical. I think, as a counselor, I also think about how we start from being these physical beings, and then we go into our emotional baby crying self, just like we're pure emotion. We're pure water. This is the water world. So we start in the physical and then we open up to all of this water that we are surrounded by and appreciate in this world. And I think about being a baby. The reason why babies can bounce so easily is that each cell that they have is filled with so much more water. And as we get older, our cells decrease in water. We have to replace that water by drinking all the time. But babies are just little bouncy balls of water. And so we're starting out and things are starting to sprout. And we're starting to perceive the world that's growing around us. We're not in just protection mode. We're now in observation and learning and feeling and starting to think, what is really important to us? How do we relate to this world? What are we dreaming about? And we're still protective. So in this world, we add a little bit, things are starting to bloom. So we take our white wine and we add a little of the red to it. We have sort of a pink situation. And we eat a fruit that has a hard pit inside. We're still protecting part of us. We're still not ready to fully understand or go out into the world. We're still evolving. We're just sprouting, but we're opening up our eyes. We're opening up our emotions. So we eat a fruit that has a hard shell on the inside, a pit. So like a cherry or an olive or a peach. Um, and um, and we symbolize like what is it that we're still a little bit guarded. We're not ready to fully open up. We're still trying to protect and learn what we need to protect, but we're also dreaming and we're also discovering our own feelings and what's important to us and what we have to bring to the world. So we say a blessing over this um, new glass of wine and our fruit that has a little pit in it. So Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri ha'etz. And now we are moving into the next world where we're in full summer and everything is abundant and there are no limits. And we're really learning to express ourselves. And this is the world of the intellect and air and really feeling more aware and conscious. Um, I work with these 12-year-olds who are going into their B'nai Mitzvah year at 13. And this is really when they like have this first level of higher level thinking, right? They're really able to perceive higher level concepts and really starting to discover like, who am I as separate from my family and separate from my friends? What is my identity? So this is the world of like nourishing really who you are as an independent person. So in this world, you eat a fruit that has no shell and no pit and is just totally free. And you think about who you would be if you were fully expansive, and this is the realm of pure dreaming, pure intellect, pure expansion, openness and abundant. We're in the summer where everything is alive and full. Um, and so we add more red. Things are even more rich and beautiful. So we add a little more red to um our glass. And we think about like who in our full expanded selves do we want to be? Right? Like who would we be if there were no limitations? If we weren't dealing with all of the ways that we have to think that we have to protect ourselves like we do in the winter, if all of that was released, who would we be? And how would we want to be in the world? And so I have little blueberries here. So the fruits of this world are blueberries and raspberries and strawberries and grapes and anything you can just pop in your mouth without peeling or doing anything to just your full expanded self, this integration between the physical, emotional, and intellectual. You're really coming into yourself. So once again, we'll say the little blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. And Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri. This is actually Adama, because sort of between Adama, it's blueberries grow in a little tiny bush, not on a tree, and Adama comes from the earth. So, but here we go. And in this very last world, there's no fruit that we have to eat. This last world is the world of the fall. And here we're finally at the place where we are starting to think about what we're planting in the year ahead. We've done our own maturity to really appreciate everything that has come before us, to use our energy to protect it, to start understanding the world around us and thinking who we are and what we have to contribute And so this fourth world is the world of the spiritual. We've grown physically, we've grown emotionally, we've grown intellectually, and now we're growing spiritually and thinking, what is it for us to plant? What is it for us to do in the world? What is our gift, right? Instead of just, we spend all of this time, right, as infants and then young people and then going into maturity, receiving and learning and growing. And then we come into our full maturity and think about what is it ours to give. And so in the fourth world, there's nothing to receive, there's nothing to eat. There's only to dream and to think about, like, if you had no fear and if you had no limitations, what would it be for you to give to the world or to be in the world or to create in the world? And what is one action you could take in this next year to contribute something unique, or just contribute something that's meaningful to you to put out there into the world? So I was gonna offer, if you wanted to put something in the chat, like one hope or some action you'd like to take in this next coming year, one way that you'd like to make change or contribute to the world, in this next coming year, and you want to add that to the chat. I thought this could be a little moment to do that. Um, and in this world, we drink an almost full red glass of wine or juice, with just a hint of the white still left in it. So I'll add a little more of my pomegranate tea, current tea. Um, let's see if nobody's quite added to the chat yet. That's okay. Um, but it's just for you to like let it sit in you and think about, where you are in this coming year. So I love the fact that the Jewish community has all these different opportunities to start over, that um the the holiday that people think about as the Jewish New Year is in September, and it's actually in the ninth month of the year. It's not it's not our first month of the year. So um our New Year that we call Rosh Hashanah is the New Year for the whole world. So we don't think of it as our New Year. It's just our time to appreciate all of creation, not just the trees, not just the people, not us as a community, but the whole world. And so we have this moment to like start over and try to refresh ourselves as people and ask for forgiveness at this time that the world was created. The first month of the year for Jewish people is starts with Passover, starts with Nisan in the springtime, because that's when we went from just being one little tiny family in the Torah to being a whole community that it was big enough to need a calendar. Right. So Passover is actually the first year of the month. Um, But we have these different moments throughout the year to just take stock and make new resolutions and think about like who we are and what we want to contribute and how to start over. Um, so yay, people are adding to the chat. So you can read through them and to spend more time with family and support community, to write family stories. Um, yeah, to dream and start hoping for who we can be. There's always, the first sort of family story in the Torah is about Abraham and Sarah who've wanted a child between them and don't have it till they're 90. So it's this element of like, it's never too late. You never know when your blessing's going to come. You never know when your story is going to start. So we're constantly being given opportunities to start over. So we'll drink this last uh, glass of juice, wine, tea, and say a blessing for who we want to be and what action we want to put into the world. This is the world of fire, and like how we want to like create new things and be part of the warmth and the generation of love into the world. So Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. L'chaim, to life. So that's my little presentation. I don't know if I'm supposed to allow for questions or
Thank you, Shira. Thank you so much. I think what we'll do is just have our final song and prayer, and then we'll stop the recording, and then community, if you're able to stay behind for a bit and we can ask questions and talk to you more. Wonderful. Thank you for this. This was so good. I feel like I could just continue to listen to you for the next hour and then come over to your house and have tea and more things and continue on with this. So thank you so much. I'll turn it over to Bruce for now, and then we'll have our final prayer for before we end our service. Thank you.
Eretz Zavat Halav, Eretz Zavat Halav. Here we go. Eretz Zavat Halav, Halav udvash. 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 Eretz Zavat Halav, Zavat Halav udvash. Eretz Zavat Halav, Zavat Halav udvash. Eretz Zavat Halav, 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 Zavat Halav udvash. Eretz Zavat Halav, Zavat Halav udvash. Eretz Zavat Halav, 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 Zavat Halav udvash. Eretz Zavat Halav, Zavat Halav udvash. Eretz Zavat Halav, Eretz Zavat Halav, Eretz Zavat Halav, Eretz Zavat Halav.
Thank you, Bruce. Well, for our closing prayer, my friends, just open our hearts up and just continue to remember this message today reminds us that we are always in a cycle. We're always moving through versions of ourselves, opportunities for reflection, protection, renewal, awareness, and learning. May we also be reminded that the world is ever unfolding for us and with us, and that the gifts that we are presented as we move through our lives are opportunities for us to draw from and contribute to the ever unfolding of this beautiful creation. May these messages touch deep in your heart in whatever way you may need today, and bless us as we move forward. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for being here today.